به نام خدا و با سلام و درود به بینندگان عزیزم در سرتاسر جهان. انشالله که حالتون خوب باشه. مستقیم میرم سر این برنامه رو درست کردم درست یکی دو روز پیش از این که اسرائیل به ایران حمله کنه یا این رژیم کودک کش به ایران حمله کنه و این برنامه درباره جریان منافقین در آلبانی هست. اینا الان کجا هستن، چی کار میکنن، چه فعالیتایی دارن، چه کسانی پشتشون هست، از کجا حمایت میشن و با یک کارشناس مخصوص این گروه مصاحبه کردم. یک آقایی که در واقع دکترا داره در تاریخ و مسائل سیاسی و ایشون در دانشگاه تدریس میکنه، خودش شهروند آلبانی هست و در هر صورت تخصصش این گروهک تروریستی منافقین هست به نام MEK یا خودش اینا رو میگه مک. من میخواستم این برنامه رو پست کنم که دیدم یه دفعه جنگ مغلوبه شد و باید میپرداختم به برنامه‌های دیگه‌ای. حالا میخوام این برنامه رو اینجا براتون در امتداد سخنان خودم بگذارم و این برنامه به زبان انگلیسی است، مصاحبه‌ای که انجام دادم و 1 ساعت و 10 دقیقه هستش یا یه همچین عددی. در هر صورت یه برنامه نسبتا طولانیه و اینکه من بخوام برم بشینم 1 ساعت و 10 دقیقه رو همش رو ترجمه کنم برای شما ارائه بدم از حوصله‌تون خارجه. بنابراین یک نکات کوتاهی رو اینجا بهش میپردازم و به شما رو ارجاع میدم که برین برنامه رو ببینین اگه میخواین که در جزئیات بدونین که این جریان منافقین الان چیکار دارن میکنن و چه موضوعهای مهمی اونجا هست. میخوام بگم اطلاعات خیلی مهمی در این نهفته است و یه نکته رو که میخواستم بگم اینه که شما میدونین در همین عملیات تروریستی اخیر در ایران منافقین اونجا سهم بسزای خودشونو دارن، یعنی یکی از اون عناصر مهم برای تمام این عملیات تروریستی منافقین هستن در ایران که توسط حتی میخوام بگم عربستان سعودی و امارات اینا حمایت میشن، حمایت کشورهای غربی رو دارن. اینها در واقع موساد و نمیدونم CIA و MI6 و اینا همه با اینا کار میکنن، کشور فرانسه با اینا کار میکنه. خب در صورت در این برنامه تمام این نکات میپردازیم، پس شما باید برین این برنامه رو ببینین. خب حالا اگر که دیگه انگلیسیتون خوب نیست دیگه من نمیدونم چی کار بکنم، چون من از توان من خارجه که بیام یه برنامه طولانی رو ترجمه کنم. میدونین که من برنامه هایی رو از تحلیلگران آمریکایی میام ترجمه میکنم، معمولا 10 دقیقه شو یه ربعشو ترجمه میکنم یا پخش میکنم یا فوقش نیم ساعت. دیگه برنامه طولانی مثل این نمیشه، ولی اینقدر حرف و سخن درباره اینها بود و افشاگری هست در این برنامه که نمیشد کوتاهش کرد. در هر صورت یه کوتاهی هم از اون کلیپ براتون پخش میکنم. In the name of God, hello and welcome to my show. Today I have a special guest, Dr. Olsi Jazexhi. Dr. Olsi Jazexhi is assistant professor in history at International Islamic University of Malaysia and specialized in MEK, residing in Albania, the so-called terrorist organization who has implemented many terrorist actions in Iran, and we call them منافقین. Dr. Olsi is a skillful political analyst of our time outside Iran. I admire his knowledge about MEK, Mujahideen Khalq. It is known that MEK is supported by CIA, Mossad, and other hostile European governments.
No, they are harassing, they are persecuting their own members, and they have turned Albania into a no-go zone. And by the way, Parvin, I just want to appeal to your Iranian and Canadian public.
Yes.
If you are a naturalized Iranian American or Iranian Canadian, please do not visit Albania. We know many stories of Iranians who are Germans, who are Canadians, who are Americans, who when they come to Albania, they are not allowed to enter the country. And even if you are allowed to enter in the country, the first moment that you enter in our airport of Rinat in Albania, a copy of your passport goes to the Mujahideen camp, and the High Command of Maryam Rajavi.
من پرسیدم اول برنامه مریم رجوی هنوز زنده است یا نه، چون سال پیش برنامه پست کردم و به نظر میرسید که مریض شده و مرده، ولی ایشون میگه که نه، در کنفرانسی که در سال 2025 برگزار شدهش برای تغییر نظام در ایران این شرکت داشت و با تمام این عناصر مخربی که در آمریکا هستن باشون همکاری میکنن. دولت میگه که دولت آلبانی به کمپ اشرف حمله کردش. من ازش پرسیدم، یکی از اون مسائلی که گفته میشه حمله کرد و این جریان مال سال پیشه و تمام ابزار الکترونیکی اونا رو تصاحب کرد و این گروه تروریستی، آیا این دولت آلبانی از این گروه تروریستی میترسه یا این که در واقع اینا تحت حمایت سازمان سیاه هستن و اینکه حمایت مالیشون رو از اینا قطع کرده؟ ایشون میگه سازمان سیاه به اینا کمک مالی نمیکنه به اون صورت، ولی کشورهای دیگه هستن که کمک مالی میکنن. حالا مثلا فرانسه هست، عربستان هست، امارات هست، به احتمال زیادی اینا هستن که پشت این گروهک هستن. و اون موقع که ما داشتیم این برنامه رو میساختیم اینا حرف مذاکرات رو میزدن، در حال مذاکره بودن، دور پنجمش انجام شده بودش و اینا. ایشون پیشنهاد کرد، گفتش که در این مذاکرات ایرانیا، اونایی که میرن مذاکره میکنن، باید این شرط رو بگذارن که این منافقین رو از آلبانی بیرون کنن و تحویلشون بدن و آمریکا نباید دست از حمایت از این گروهک تروریستی برداره. اینو میگفتش که من پیشنهاد میکنم به دولت ایران، به کسانی که میرن مذاکره. ایشون پیشنهاد دادش. خب نکته دیگه رو که میگه، اینا با لابی اسرائیل در آمریکا خیلی نزدیک هستن، با آیپک و اینا کار میکنن و پهلوی ها هم این گروه میگه که این رضا دوزاری اینا از اینا خیلی بدشون اینا هم متنفر هستن، چش ندارن همدیگه رو ببینن و در هر صورت میگه که این دارو دسته رضا پهلوی آمریکا رو زیر فشار میگذارن که به اینها سلاح ندن و دیگه همونطور که گفتم اینا تحت حمایت عربستان و امارات هستن. حالا پرسش من اینه، ایران نباید بره یه سیله بزنه تو گوش عربستان بگی که این کارهای تروریستی تو قطع کن بی شرف؟ در صورت من ازش پرسیدم که چرا شما علاقه‌مند شدی به این گروه تروریستی که یعنی تخصص این گروه که تروریستی هستش. ازش پرسیدم و میگه که به خاطر اینکه من میخواستم بدونم که این گروه‌های تروریستی آبشخورشون کجاست، چه کسانی حمایتشون میکنن و چه صدمه ها و لطماتی میتونن وارد کنن به یه جامعه. میگه که این در واقع یک غده سرطانی است در کشور ما که کشور ما رو از اونچه که بود خیلی تبدیل کرده به یه در واقع یه جای مناسبی برای تروریستا. خب در صورت من این آقای اولسی یازچی استاد دانشگاه هست، همکنون الان مدتی از خود آلبانی اومده بیرون و در کشور مالزی اقامت داره. گروهک منافقین اومدن در واقع نفوذ کردن، رخنه کردن با رشتی تو تمام دم و دستگاه کشور آلبانی. در واقع کشور آلبانی دستشونه. اینطوریه وقتی که این مصاحبه رو گوش میکنین بسیار جالبه، نکات خیلی مهمی رو مطرح میکنه و الانم دارم بهتون میگم بدونین که بخش مهمی از عملیات تروریستی در این 12 روز زیر سر این گروهک منافقین هست و خوشبختانه تعداد زیادیشون رو دستگاه انتظامی ما بازداشت کرده و دارن یه تعدادی رو خدمتشون میرسن که قبلا در واقع گرفته بودن و ما خواستار اشد مجازات برای تمام این گروهک‌های تروریستی هستیم در ایران و تمام این هسته‌های تروریسم. میخوام بگم خیلی واضح و روشن چه عملیاتی دارن در خود کشور آلبانی انجام میدن و خود کشور آلبانی شده به تبدیلش کردن به یک فضای بسیار مساعد برای تروریسم. اینه در واقع ماهیت غرب رو خیلی قشنگ اینجا به تصویر میکشه ایشون. خب حتما این برنامه رو ببینین، توصیه میکنم حتما ببینین. حالا شاید در آینده نزدیک به ترجمه‌اش هم برسم ولی فعلا امکانش رو ندارم. یادتون باشه به اشتراک بگذارین، نظرتون رو بنویسین، پسندم یادتون نره، همگی در پناه حق باشین. In the name of God, hello and welcome to my show. Today I have a special guest, Dr. Olsi Jazexhi, Assistant Professor in History at International Islamic University of Malaysia, specialized in MEK, residing in Albania, the so-called terrorist organization who has implemented many terrorist actions in Iran, and we call them منافقین. Dr. Olsi is a skillful political analyst of our time outside Iran. I admire his knowledge about MEK, Mujahideen Khalq. It is known that MEK is supported by CIA, Mossad, and other hostile European governments such as France. So for 1.5 years ago, we heard that their leader, Maryam Rajavi, was seriously ill and hospitalized. There were rumors that she was dead. Apparently, this is not the case. It seems like that she's still alive. In this interview, we are gonna cast light on MEK and their activities today. They reside right now in Ashraf 3 camp in Tirana in Albania. And Dr. Olsi Jazexhi, he is originally a citizen of Albania, right now residing in Malaysia. In 2003, the Albanian police broke into their camp and confiscated all of their electronic devices, and also arrested some of their members. So this is what I know about them, and in this interview I'm going to ask some questions, and Dr. Olsi Jazexhi is going to answer. I welcome you and thank you so much, Olsi, for accepting my invitation to this show. Thanks a lot. And my first question to you is Maryam Rajavi alive? Are those photos in social media and those clips, video clips you have sent to me, do they actually prove that she is still alive, or are they fake?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me, Parvin, and responding to your question, I can say that for as much as we know Maryam Rajavi, she is still alive.
Okay.
We have seen a video of her which was released by the Mujahideen website 2 days ago, where she organized, like she always does, the so-called second Free Iran 2025 conference for regime change.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we have seen Rajavi in the presence of a number of European mercenaries and people who serve to the Rajavi cause and who are on her payroll. So we do not have a reason to suspect that she is dead. Okay.
So she's alive and she is active. How about Masood Rajavi, her husband? I heard rumors that he is still alive and he's hiding somewhere. Is that right, or this is just fake news?
Well, we do not know if Masood Rajavi is alive or not, since, as you know, the Mujahideen cult, they are very secretive. They do not reveal many of their crimes that they commit. But for as much as we know, especially from defectors from the cult, and as you might know, in Tirana, Albania, there are many people who have defected the cult, and they have escaped into freedom. And from their testimonies, we don't see any sign that Masood Rajavi is alive. But Maryam Rajavi claims that he is alive, and what defectors tell to us is that the Rajavi cult, which is headed by his second wife, who is Maryam Rajavi, they use a lot of deception, and among others, they keep a kind of mystery about whereabouts of Masoud Rajavi, and they tell to their slave soldiers that Masoud Rajavi is alive and he will come back, and with him we're going to liberate Iran, and stupid things like this. But we do not have any proof that he is alive. And what we can say with certainty is that most probably he is dead, and he died a long time ago.
Okay, you're right that these organizations, they are very secretive. Yes, my next question is that Albanian government, they broke into Ashraf camp for, what's it, in 2023, something like that. And they confiscated all of their electronic devices. My question is that, is it because they were really afraid of the activities, the terrorist activities and cyber activities MEK has had, or is it because that the US government stopped supporting them financially? Because you know better than me that Albania was actually ordered to take care of this terrorist organization. So I'm just wondering whether the US government has stopped supporting them, and therefore the Albanian police, they broke into Ashraf camp and confiscated their equipment and also arrested some of their members. And what has happened to those guys, and what was the real reason behind this attack?
So I have open here for your viewers an article from Radio Free Europe dated 21st of June 2023. Can you see the article?
Yes.
Okay, so this article is one of the many articles which were published in that time. I also made a number of interviews and articles about the police raid. So what was the reason and why, as you can see here, it says US voices support for Albanian raid on camp for Iranian dissidents. So what happened in the year 2023 is that the Albanian government, they authorized the police, and we have the special court against corruption known as SPARC, and a court of high crimes, that they authorized a raid in the Mujahideen camp. Now, why was the raid authorized? For a number of reasons. The year 2023 was a very important year for the activities of the Mujahideens against Iran. They had conducted a number of cyber attacks against the Islamic Republic. And 1 year before that, when you had the movement of the so-called Mahsa Amini under the slogan "Women, Life, Freedom," the Mujahideens, they played a very important role on inciting the Iranians. So what the Mujahideens have done is that after settling in Albania in 2016, and then moving and building their Ashraf 3 camp, and moving in this camp between 2018 and 2017, the MEC, they set up call centers within their camp from where they conduct espionage activity and cyber terrorism against the Islamic Republic. Apart from this, the Mujahideen, they have set up a number of exchange offices in Albania. And what they do with these change offices, they do havala, which means money transfer. And what they were doing actually was that they were calling people in Iran, people who are poor, and telling to these people, we are going to pay you 5,000, 20,000 euro if you go and attack a police station, or if you burn a mosque, or if you display a poster of Mariam Rajavi and you film yourself with it, and so many things. So what happened is that the Mujahideen camp had become a major headache for the Albanian government and then for the government of Iran. And as we know and understand is that in 2013, at least this is what has been reported by Albanian media, was that Iranian counterpart, they contacted the Albanian government. They told them that your camp that you have in Manza, Duros, Albania, has become a major source of terrorism against our government. And we understand that Iran most probably threatened Albania, probably with a strike or any other thing, we don't know what, unless Albania was to do something against the Mujahideen activity.
Are you saying that Iranian government threatened the Albanian government that if you still house these guys and you don't do anything about them, we are going to strike Albania? Is that what?
Yes. Yeah, this was what was alluded by a number of security analysts in Albania. But we don't have a public declaration from the prime minister and the president of Albania. What happened is,
let me just say something. I made a show for some years back, and I actually suggested to my own government that they should talk to Albanian government and tell them, if you keep supporting these terrorist organization, these terrorist people, we are going to actually strike you a couple of drones and something like that, so you should stop. And this was what I said, because I suggested, and it's not because I'm not saying that they listened, they followed my suggestion, but I'm happy to hear that that is what has happened, to see some proactive actions from my own government. Okay, please go ahead.
Well, we do not know exactly if Iranian government contacted the Albanian government, but this is what was declared in Albanian media by different security analysts. Now, the intervention of the Albanian police against the Mujahideen camp came almost a year after the Mujahideens had started a massive cyber attack campaign against the Islamic Republic. In July 2022, which means 1 year before this police raid, me and another friend of me, a journalist, his name is Georgi Panasi, we wrote this letter. I am opening the letter here. Can you see the letter in your screen?
Yes, I can see the letter.
So we sent a letter to the Security Council of Albania. So we addressed this letter to our president, Ilir Meta, Prime Minister Edi Rama, Minister of Defense, Niko Peleshi, Minister of Interior, Bledar Chuchi, and the Chairman of the Commission for National Security, Nasip Nacho. So we sent this letter to the Albanian Security Council and the Parliament. And in this letter, we addressed the issue of hacking that was going on in Albania, because in July 2022, Albania came under cyber attacks by some hackers that we never know who they are. But in the Albanian media in the time, it was hinted that the hackers could be from Russia or Iran, even though Iran has officially denied this. And for me personally, 2 months ago, when I was in Albania and I met an ex-high official of the Albanian government, he told me that it was not the Iranians who did the hacking, but the hackers were some, amateur hackers hacking from Europe. There are many hackers who hack government agencies for ransom and for money. Nevertheless, the Albanian government, accused Iran, but in the meantime, when Albania was being hacked, Iran was being hacked a lot. And the Mujahideens, they had claimed in one of their websites that they stood behind the bombing of the Malek Ashtar military base in Tehran. And Mariam Rajavi claimed, like she claims even to this moment that we are talking together, that she has established revolutionary cells. Now, the thing is that what had happened in July 2022, when we sent this letter to the Security Council of Albania, was that Albania had become a party in a war against the Islamic Republic of Iran. And based on many media declarations of this time, we sent this letter to our government and we asked our government if Albania was at war with the Islamic Republic of Iran. Because its activity, its territory, which means Albania, and in particular the Mujahideen camp, was being used to stage military cyber attacks against a sovereign country, which is the Islamic Republic of Iran, which is also a member of the United Nations. And according to the Albanian laws and Albanian constitution, is that if Albania is at war against Iran, the prime minister and the president should declare war. Otherwise, if Albania is not at war with Iran, we asked our Security Council and we gave them a notice that its territory, and our government knew this very well, but its territory was being used for conducting a terrorist activity against a foreign country. And we offered our expertise to our parliament, and as you can read probably here at the last paragraph, we were saying as experts of Iran, Albanian patriots, and distant followers of the US-Iran nuclear issue, we are ready to offer to your excellencies our expertise and testimonies about the Mujahideen activity in our country, the threat that it poses to our national security, and the policies of Albania's ally, the United States, and in the Vienna nuclear talks with Iran. Now, why we wrote this sentence to our Security Council in the time? We wrote because in this moment, Iran and the United States, they were conducting, this was the Biden administration, they were conducting nuclear discussions in Vienna for reaching an Iran nuclear deal, and the Mujahideens were going in the back of the Biden administration to destroy these negotiations. So what was going on, according to our intelligent guessing, was that the regime of Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel, because they use the Mujahideen a lot, and we have had even their current ambassador, Galit Peleg, who is in Tirana, who she has even visited their camp, and she has shown her open support for MEC. So what we understood that what was going on in Albania in 2022 was that Israel was using the Mujahideens to create chaos in Iran, to provoke the Iranian government so that the Americans and the Iranians will not succeed on having a nuclear deal. And what we told to our government, we told to our government that what the Mujahideens were doing was a breach of our security. They were breaching our penal code. They were committing a crime, because it is a crime to engage in military action against a foreign country if you live in the Republic of Albania. And we mentioned to our government that what the Mujahideens are doing, it is a terrorist activity, and you should do something about it. Now, the Albanian government of our Prime Minister Edi Rama, probably on orders by Benjamin Netanyahu, because we have a Prime Minister who is a puppet of international Zionism. He is a genocide denier. He denies that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza at present, and he is in power thanks to the Jewish lobby, even though he comes from the minority in Albania. Edi Rama, he's not even an Albanian. He is a Romanian originally and a Catholic.
Oh, yeah.
While the majority of Albanians are Muslim. Anyhow, what our government did in that time, we're talking about 2022, instead of taking action against the Mujahideens, in September, they closed the Iranian embassy because Albania was hacked in July and in August and maybe September 2022. Its airports and ports and ministries were all hacked by a group of hackers. And our government, without having any proof, blamed Iran. And in support of the Albanian government, we'll have immediately Israel coming and the United States. And finally, in September 2022, our Prime Minister Edi Rama, who before this, on orders by Mariam Rajavi, had expelled the Iranian ambassador from the country, he closed the embassy. Oh. And this was all thanks to Mujahideen activity and Israeli pressure. But then what happened is that 1 year after that, which means in 2023, which is in June, so almost 11 months, finally, the Albanian government gave the green light to the Special Prosecutor Office of Albania and the police to raid the Mujahideen camp, to seize their computers, which they were doing a terrorist activity against Iran. And when the Albanian police raided their camp, the Mujahideens, they rebelled, like always. They made fake news. They claimed that Albanian police had killed their members, which was not true. And then they used their senators in the United States and lobby to pressure Albania. But what happened is that the Albanian government raided their camp 1 year after, confiscated some of their servers and computers, which were used for hacking activity. But to this day, we didn't see a single Mujahideen face the law. And in the time when the Albanian government raided the Mujahideen camp, this was a time of desperation for our Prime Minister Edi Rama, because 1 year before, Albania was hacked by some hackers and its online services were destroyed. And what happened is that by the end of 2022, probably December, the Albanian government had to pay millions of dollars to Israeli cyber securities who got money for free from Albania under the promise that they will protect Albanian cyber security systems. What happened is that Israel got millions of dollars from Albanian taxpayers, but Albania to this day has never been protected by cyber attack. But what happened is that our Prime Minister Rama, who he doesn't understand very well international politics, because moreover, he is even a drug addict, and according to many people who know him, he has mental issues. He was very disappointed with the Americans and the Europeans, because when Albania was hacked in the July to September 2022, he went to NATO, he went to the State Department in US, he went to the European Union begging the Western governments to help Albania to recover the losses that it had because of these cyber attacks. But the Europeans, NATO, the Americans told to Edi Rama, it's none of your business. I mean, you were stupid enough to host the Mujahideens in your country. Mujahideens are using your territory to launch war against Iran. So good luck, you are on your own. So he was left very disappointed, and the Americans told him very openly. We had an American ambassador in the time, Yuri Tim, a very notorious Zionist and anti-Islamic ambassador. And she told our prime minister very openly, look, when Albania agreed with the United States during the presidency of Obama in 2016 to bring the Mujahideens in the country, the agreement was just to host them, but not to allow the Mujahideens to conduct a terrorist activity. So our Prime Minister Edi Rama, who is an idiot and stupid enough, he had given to the Mujahideens a green light to conduct terrorist activity. But Americans told him, look, the agreement that Albania, United States, and the Mujahideens did in 2016, it was meant that Albania will host them, will give them asylum, but they were not supposed to do terrorism. And Americans told him, we are very sorry, but this is what you have done. And why did Edi Rama allow the Mujahideens from 2016 to 2023 openly commit terrorist activity against Iran was because he was asked by Israeli Mossad. Israeli Mossad have used the Mujahideens in their location to Albania to stage a number of false flag operations against Iran. The most vicious of this false flag operation was in the year 2018, when the Mujahideens claimed that Iran was about to conduct a terrorist attack against them inside Albania. Now, me and my friend Georgi Tanasi, who we investigated this case, we found out that there was no Iranian attempt to commit a terrorist attack against the Mujahideens, but all the claim was staged by Mariam Rajavi, who, because in 2018, in March, in Albania, we had a congress about Imam Ali, where two journalists from Irib were invited by the Bektashi community. And because Mariam Rajavi, from the time that she has come to Albania, she has turned Albania into a no-go zone for Iranians, she called probably the Israeli embassy or the US, claiming that these two journalists, they were terrorists who had come to Albania to assassinate the Mujahideens. Albanian police, they arrested the two Iranian journalists. They didn't find anything suspicious on them. They were publicly journalists and they were allowed to go back home. But what MEC did is that MEC, because they are specialized on lies and manipulation,
yes,
they produced a fake news claiming that Iran had sent two suicide bombers to kill them. And this news was taken by Mike Pompeo, because in this time we had Donald Trump still being president of America. And the Mujahideens had managed through Mossad, Israeli lobby, to somehow recruit Mike Pompeo and the deputy president of America, Mike Pence, two evangelical Zionist Israeli first lunatics who it seems that Netanyahu had convinced them to, in a way, use Mecca and Albania in order to stage provocations against Iran. But now what happened is that in 2023, when we had the Biden administration, the policies of the first Trump administration, which during the first Trump presidency, we had the evangelical Zionist Mike Pompeo and Mike Pence were manipulating Trump. Now, when Biden came, Americans told to Edi Rama, look, we have nothing to do with these idiots. So if they are harming your national security, is your business. So you deal with them. So what happened is that in June 2023, finally Albanian police and special court raided their camps, took many materials that the Mujahideen had in their servers against the Islamic Republic, but these materials have never been presented to the court, and to this day, not a single Mujahideen has been sentenced.
Okay.
So what is Albania doing? Albania is doing a double game. In one hand, it has, in a way, threatened the Mujahideens, told them, look, you shouldn't do open activities against Iran, because Albania is a puppet state, it's a banana republic, is a state of almost 2 million inhabitants, citizens. It's a very small country. And its main export to the outside world is drugs and prostitution. Many officers of our prime minister, they are in jail now because of corruption and drug smuggling. So Albania has no guts to fight against Iran. So what has happened is that our prime minister, by sending the police in June 2023 to raid the Mujahideen camp, he in a way gave them a signal that, look, and he said this openly, he told them, we are going to host you, but you are here to be hosted and not to conduct a terrorist activity. But he hasn't implemented the law, because from 2016 to 2023, for 6 years, MEC was openly staging terrorist attacks against the Islamic Republic. And in particular, in September 2022, when you had the riots of Mahsa Amini in Iraq,
yes,
MEC spent millions of dollars paying Iranian traitors, mercenaries, money to go and attack their state institutions, schools, mosques, killing police and military and other civil servants in order to create chaos in Iran. So for the crimes that MEC has conducted in Albania from 2016 to 2023, according to Albanian penal law, Mariam Rajavi should minimum get a life sentence. But what is happening is that our government, our prime minister, who is a puppet of international Zionism, and he needs the Zionist lobby. The Zionist lobby loves him very much, and he has even called on the Zionist settlers to come and settle in Albania and turn Albania into a second Palestine. So the Zionist lobby, they protect him, and in the meantime, they also protect the Mujahideens. So from 2023, Mujahideens from their camp, they still commit terrorist activities against the Islamic Republic, but not as open as before June 2023, when they had turned Manza is a town near the county of Durrës in Albania, where the Mujahideens, they have their Ashraf 3 camp. Until June 2023, they had turned Ashraf 3 into the Mecca of terrorism. So you had retired Western politicians, people from the ex-Prime Minister of Canada, Harper, to mercenaries like John Bolton and others, who all were coming to Albania. They were being paid huge sums of money to make anti-Iran declarations and to scream for regime change. So what has happened is that since June 2023, the Mujahideens are not allowed by Albanian government to organize massive conferences for regime change against the Islamic Republic. And these conferences now are being organized in Paris, in France, and in Germany, where, as you can understand, France and Germany, they are in a way hosting the terrorist activities of Maryam Rajavi as part of their proxy and hybrid warfare against Islam, Palestine, and the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Okay, it seems like that the Albanian government is a very good friend of the child killers regime and also a subservient to CIA and Mike Pompeo and all the gangs. So a question, what is the population of Muslim population in your country, in your homeland today? I don't remember.
The Muslim population of Albania is 70%, more or less. But the problem is that Albania is not a democracy like Iran is. So in Albania, we do not have free and fair elections. And the Muslims, even though they are the majority, they are not allowed to participate in democracy as they should and to elect their own leaders. What happens in Albania, unfortunately, is that elections are being stolen, and we have a minority in power, the minority run by government, run by our Prime Minister Edi Rama, so there is no accountability. So we have a mafia-run state, unfortunately.
Is that the reason why you moved to Malaysia? Because the situation in Albania is not pleasant for Muslims? Or actually the political situation?
Yeah, the reason why I'm in Malaysia is because my life is not safe in Albania. I was expelled from my university on orders of the Prime Minister in 2019. And I am an enemy there of the regime because I denounce the Mujahideen. And the Mujahideen, they attack any person who dares to reveal their crimes. And I have been personally attacked by the Mujahideen gang, and not only me, there are a number of other Albanian journalists, including my friend Gjergje Tanasi. They have even written to the Ministry of Justice of Albania. And in 2019, I was even placed under investigation after the Mujahideen complaints. But the good thing is that we never break the law, so we are within the law. And since we are within the law, our government cannot do anything to us. But what our government does, it is that they harass us. So when I was active in Albania and I have published cases of illegal imprisonment and torture that Albanian government was doing against Iranian defectors. We had people like Ehsan Bidi, Hassan Hirani, and others who were locked in concentration camp. I have to repeat it.
Oh, no.
Detention centers without a court order. And we had one guy, his name is Ehsan Bidi. He was kept for 2 years in a detention center.
Oh, no.
Only because Maryam Rajavi hated him because he was very active in media. He was interviewed by BBC, Al Jazeera, many Western medias. And because these people who were ex-Mujahideens were contacting the Western medias and revealing to them the human rights abuses that happen within the Mujahideen camp, Mujahideens, they asked Edi Rama's government, and his government simply detained these people without a court order. They even tried to kill Ehsan Bidi because he was very vocal anti-Mariam Rajavi activist. So when I was in Albania, I conducted many press releases. And imagine, I mean, we were not allowed even to organize these press releases. And we were sometimes forced to organize these press releases in the streets in order to call the media, in order to explain to the media what was going on, how the Albanian government was torturing these people for the only reason that these people were speaking the truth. Let me just show you the two articles. One is from the Mujahideen and another is from an Iranian website, Nejab NGO. So this article shows how Ehsan Bidi was released from jail. It is this guy sitting here. He had just been released, and on his right is his friend Hassan Herani. Both of these people, they are no longer in Iran today. This is the moment when he was released from jail. And this poor man, his life was destroyed for the only reason because he was condemning and he was showing what happens inside the Mecca.
Where are they now? Where are they now?
Ehsan Bidi, as far as I know, he is in back to Iran. And then you have the other guy next to him, Hassan Herani, a very smart intellectual Iranian who was interviewed by many Western medias, including Al Jazeera, BBC, because he was a high commander when he was in the Mecca. And then when he defected, he knew so many things. And Ehsan Bidi has also expelled from Albania. Poor Ehsan, in 2023, if I'm not wrong, he was also illegally detained. He even went in hunger strike. And finally, he was expelled illegally from Albania. Right now, Hassan Herani, he is in Greece working construction. Very, 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 I mean, very tragic end of these people. But this is what MEC did. And look what MEC was doing. They were using their website, the National Council of Resistance of Iran, labeling these people as agents. Look, one of their articles. Ehsan Bidi, the Iranian regime intelligence agent, officially expelled from Albania. These criminals.
Fake news, yes.
But they were very successful. No, they were very successful because through their fake news, they managed to destroy the life of these people who were revealing to the world what Mujahideens were doing. And this Ehsan Bidi, he was a public personality. He went and he was interviewed by many medias. But what MEC was doing is MEC was only spreading fake news. Look, the articles of MEC against Ehsan Bidi has been published until up to Macedonia. You know what the Mujahideens do? When you speak against them, they make you an Iranian agent. This is a poster of Ehsan Bidi where they depict him as an Iranian agent. And they go and contact the medias and they offer them money. They offer huge sums of money for you to publish fake news. So what they do is they conduct character assassination. They have even accused me and my friend Jerry Thanasi of being Iranian agents and so many other lies. The only reason is because we speak up and we reveal to the world what a criminal cult the Mujahideen al-Halq organization is. I mean, MEC breaks the law. I mean, we do not care what MEC has done to Iran in 1980s, 1990s. Let us forget that. We care about what MEC is doing now in Europe, and in particular in Albania. They're breaking the law. They are harassing, they are persecuting their own members, and they have turned Albania into a no-go zone. And by the way, Parvin, I just want to appeal to your Iranian and Canadian public,
Yes.
if you are a naturalized Iranian American or Iranian Canadian, please do not visit Albania. We know many stories of Iranians who are Germans, who are Canadians, who are Americans, who when they come to Albania, they are not allowed to enter the country. And even if you are allowed to enter in the country, the first moment that you enter in our airport of Rinat in Albania, a copy of your passport goes to the Mujahideen camp. And the high command of Mariam Rajavi.
So you are saying, you're actually saying that Mujahideen Khalq has taken over a country like Albania, the whole juridical system, the whole government, ministry, everything? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So when it comes to Iranians, they have the ultimate say. So let us say you, Parvin, you are an American for as long as in your passport it is written that you were born in Iran. At the moment that you enter in Albania, your passport will go to the Mujahideen camp and probably to Israeli embassy. And MEC is going to vet who you are, and you shouldn't be surprised if in your hotel you have come to Albania for holiday. I mean, look, even if Reza Pahlavi comes to Albania, I bet that he is going to be detained in Albania and probably even expelled. Because Israelis have asked Prime Minister Rama that no Iranian should be allowed to step in Albania. And not only Albania, even Kosovo, by the way. I was talking one day to one immigration agent in Kosovo, and she was telling to me stories of Iranian German citizens who had come to Kosovo for tourism, who have been turned, yes, they have been turned back because look what Mariam Rajavi very successfully has done, of course, with the support of Israeli embassy. Rajavi has declared every Iranian to be an enemy of the cause. It doesn't matter if you are with the Ayatollah or if you are with Reza Pahlavi or if you are nobody. For as long as you are an Iranian and you do not subscribe and you do not agree to serve as a soldier to the Mujahideen cult, you are considered an enemy. So Iranians, I have many Iranian friends who tell me, oh, Olsi, we want to come and visit Albania. We have seen it is a nice country. I tell them, please don't come because you will not be allowed to enter in the country. You can go and visit Greece, you can go visit Italy, you can visit France, you can visit Western Europe, but not Albania and Kosovo. Why? Because Mariam Rajavi, she suspects that every Iranian is her enemy, because Mariam Rajavi is the enemy of the Iranian people.
So why don't you, there is something I don't understand about my own government. You know this, you know all of this, and you have been researching about MEK for a long time, and you are one of the best on the subject of MEK. How come they do not actually accuse the Albanian government, or they do not threaten them to send a couple of drones to this Ashraf camp? Because these guys are dangerous for humanity. They are dangerous for Albania. Naturally they are dangerous. And also they are dangerous for their own members. Many members, they manage to escape from this camp, from Ashraf 3 camp, and they are telling horrible stories, how they have been tortured and actually kept in prison like a prisoners. It would be a human step forward for Iranian authorities to actually demolish these guys, this camp. why they do not do it, I don't really understand it, because I guess they will do a favor to Albanian government if they do so. It seems to me that Albanian government cannot actually manage these guys, cannot stand against these guys. Either they are under, they are subservient to CIA, or for any other reason. But they are dangerous for Albanian people like yourself. It seems to me that you escaped from Albania, your own home country, because of these guys.
The Mujahideen, they are very dangerous. They harass people like me. But when it comes to the Iranian government, to your question why they do not drone the camp, I think that droning the Mek camp in Albania will mean attacking a NATO country. So I do not think that Iran is going to enter into war with NATO.
I was thinking Iran could give them a warning and say if they do not close this camp and deliver all the members to Iranian government, then Iran would attack them. This is completely legal. I mean, it's a legal action, isn't it?
Well, as far as I know from different security analysts in Albania, it has been alluded that Iran has already warned Albania. And we have from June 2023 that Mek is not allowed to publicly attack Iran from Albania. But the problem of Mek is not isolated to Albania only, because you have Germany and you have France who host them, and then you have the United States who host some of their terrorist commanders, like there is one Jafar Alizadeh, whatever his name is. So the problem of Mek is a European and Western problem, because you have many Western governments who they are colliding with Israel in supporting these terrorists. I believe that when you had the Iran nuclear deal of 2015, the Americans in the time, the Obama administration, I have even read somewhere the notes of this nuclear deal, but I don't remember when. And in the Iran nuclear deal of 2015, Iranians, they demanded from the Americans that Mek to be expelled from Iraq and to be sent to another country, in this case Albania, to be sent there to die. So this was the nuclear deal of 2015. But what happened is that with the coming of the evangelical Zionist Trump presidency in 2017, we had evangelical Zionists like Mike Pompeo and Mike Pence, who they were approached by Israeli Mossad and they weaponized Mek. Because when Mujahideens came in Albania in 2016, they were remaining quiet. They were not doing much troubles. But they were turned into suicide bombers when the Trump administration came. And in that time, Israeli Mossad and Netanyahu probably gave the order to reactivate them. So what I understand is the Iranian philosophy behind Mek is that I think that Iranians were very happy when Mek was expelled from Iraq to Albania, because when they were in Iraq, they were just crossing the border and killing people. So the physical distance was much larger when they were sent to Albania. And the Iranian party was expecting that Albania is going to host them and let them die. Because as you know, many of them, they are very old. And many of them, they suffer from different diseases. But what happened is that Americans, they didn't keep their promise. And when Trump destroyed the Iran nuclear deal in 2017, everything was open and Mek was again put into action. I would like the Iranians who are conducting their second nuclear deal with the Trump administration, and I suspect that this should be one of the points of discussion in Oman, I would like the Iranians to demand again from the Americans the dismantling of Mecca. Because, look, when Mujahideen came to Albania in 2016, and when they were just thrown to die there, I think for Iran it was a major achievement because they got rid of this terrorist organization which was sitting next to its border. The problem started in 2017-18 when Trump came and they rebuilt the paramilitary camp.
Yes, Mike Pompeo and Mike Pence, they were supporting them, they were financially supporting them.
Yeah, but not. I don't think America financially supported them. Probably their funding came from United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. But so the problem with MEC started when the first Trump administration came, and when they, in a way, probably ordered Albania to allow them to build a paramilitary camp. Because in 2016, the organization was having major crisis. It was dismantling. We had like 500 people who left MEC because the Mujahideens, they didn't have the camp. So they were living a civilian life. And many of them smuggled themselves into Western Europe. Some got married. So they were assimilating themselves. The problem started in 2017-18 when Mariam Rajavi gathered all of them in Ashraf 3 and imprisoned them and turned them again into soldiers. So the problem is Ashraf 3 camp. And I would like to appeal to Iranian policymakers, if by any chance they are going to see our discussion, is that in their Oman talks that they're having with the Trump administration for reaching Iran nuclear deal, they must demand the dismantlement of the Mujahideen terrorist camp in Albania. Because for as long as this camp is there, Iran is faced with a hostile, organized paramilitary group, which can become suicidal at any moment. So I would suggest to Iranian policymakers to put as part of their agenda that they have with the Americans the total dismantlement of the Mujahideen camp, the de-radicalization of the Mujahideen, and the implementation of a de-extremification program for the Mujahideens. What do I mean by de-extremification? When many Albanians joined the jihad against Syria in 2011 to 2014, the Americans, they built a program throughout Europe, but in particular in Albania, Kosovo, Macedonia, of de-extremification of those Albanian Muslims who became jihadi terrorists. So what was happening with these people? Those who had committed crimes, they were sent to prison, and those who didn't commit crimes, they were sent into centers to be de-radicalized. So what I would suggest from the Iranian side, if they reach any nuclear deal with Iran, is that Iran, in collaboration probably with Albania, or even Americans, or I don't know how, to build de-radicalization centers in Albania, where people like Mariam Rajavi, like her first husband, Mehdi Abrishamchi, and others, to be taken and to be sent into these centers, and to be de-radicalized, and to be, in a way, taught that committing terrorism is a crime, that you are in Europe, you cannot act.
Yeah, she has her hands in blood of many innocent people.
I know. She's a mass killer. She's committed crimes.
Monster muscular. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know she's a mass murderer, but I think that Iran should demand this from the Americans if they reach the nuclear deal. For one, Camp Ashraf 3 should be dismantled. Second, Mujahideens should be given freedom to live a civilian life, because look, there are many Mujahideens in the camp, Parvin, who want to escape from this terrorist entity. There are many who are young.
I know. I have made a video on those guys, and I feel sorry for them that they have been trapped and they cannot be liberated.
So there are many of these people who want to get married, who want to have wives, who want to work, who want to have a pension, who want to think about their future. And Rajavi doesn't let them go out. She keeps them as hostages.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what Iran should do is should ask Americans, we want this camp to be dismantled. We want these people to be allowed to live a civilian life. And we want to establish a commission on de-radicalization. And these people, they should, because many of these people, they are brainwashed. You know, many of these Mujahideens, whom I know personally, they do not know where they live. Mariam Rajavi keeps on lying to them.
Actually, I read about them that they don't know what is going on outside that Ashraf camp. Some of them, they came out, they couldn't do anything. They could not even get a meal for staying alive.
Yeah, because many of them, they live in 1980s and 1990s. You have in this camp people who have been taken as prisoners of war by Saddam Hussein. And if you send them out of the camp, they do not know what to do, anything. So these people, they need to be taught Albanian. They need to be given a job, to be given a skill. And these people need to be reintegrated with human society.
Exactly. They have been disabled from being a human being. That is what has happened to them. Yeah.
Because the only thing that Rajavi does to them is that she keeps them separated. The women live in their own section and the men live in their own section. They have to confess every day about their thought crimes. They have to worship.
Well, you know what? Sometimes I just think that she must be a Zionist woman. I mean, this kind of behavior you only see in genocidal Zionists in in occupied territory. You don't see it anywhere else. This woman is not a Muslim. She's a shame for the Muslim world, yes.
But I think she's worse than the Zionists, because at least the Zionists, they treat their people better, but she has no mercy for her own soldiers. She doesn't have mercy for the Iranian nation. I mean, she's simply a lunatic mercenary head of a cult. I mean, she thinks of herself of being somehow a holy woman, a person whom the world appreciates, because the Zionists, they use her and they tell her, look, you go and you kill yourself, kill other Iranians, and one day we will bring you to power. She lives she's delusional. I mean, she has mental issues. And
exactly. Psychopathic and mental issues.
Yeah, I think she needs to be locked in a mental institute and to receive psychological treatment, because I think there is something wrong with this woman. And you can say that even if you see from her face, she probably have very strong nervous breakdown, and she has issues, and she needs a medical.
Anyway,
she needs to be locked. She needs to be locked in a medical institute.
Yes. How many members do you think they have at this point in time?
Well, it is very difficult for a number of reasons. I want to give some example for your viewers. Number one is, according to the agreement that MEC had with Albania, and I don't know what is this agreement, MEC has, or Mariam Rajavi, she has full rights over her members. So
Oh no!
what is their number?
Slavery.
Yeah, it is slavery. So what is their number? We do not know.
Okay.
Albanian institutions, even if there is an institution which exactly knows their number, sometimes we read about 2,400, but we have to take here into account that many of them are dying. So how many of them are dying a year? Probably 200, 300, I don't know. They have a very high number of deaths. So we do not know their exact number, but I would guess they probably will have around 2,000.
Okay.
Number two is according to Albanian law, when a person dies, a police inspector have to come to check the cause of your death, and you have to have a medical check, and you need to have a doctor to come who is going to make analysis about your death. In the case of the Mujahideen, they do not, in their camp, they do not allow Albanian medic and police to inspect the death of their members. So we suspect
perhaps they kill some of the members, they poison them.
So we suspect that a number of their members have even been openly killed by the Mujahideen, because they have their own laws there. Inside the Ashraf camp, you live in a state within a state. So they have their own prisons. So I was told by defectors that if you defect, or if you don't obey to your commanders, they can lock you in cells. So they have prisons there, which is totally illegal according to Albanian law. So when it comes to their number, we do not know exactly, but we presume around 2,000. Now, since, if I'm not wrong, the beginning of this year, when Rajavi, she organized one event in Paris, Rajavi has started to again show her Mujahideens from the Ashraf camp, because until last year, before coming of Trump, Rajavi was afraid even to reveal her members in the camp. But now that Trump has come to power, when she is doing her ceremonies in congresses, whatever she calls them, in Paris or in Berlin, she is ordering their members to go in some...
Yeah, I saw a clip on that,
so their members are being taught to dress with jackets and to clap, and she is showing again that she still have a massive number of followers who are ready to fight and die for her. So what Rajavi is doing now, when I see the events that they organize and the number of people that they try to show, I suspect they have probably around 1,000 active members who at least they are ordered to sit in these halls and to shout and to sing for Rajavi. So, but the exact number we never know, but what we know is that since the coming of Trump, Mariam Rajavi is using a lot the Zionist lobby in the United States in order to convince the Americans to allow them to be part of operations against the Islamic Republic. But what I understand is that the Pahlavi mafia, which operates in the United States, the monarchies, they hate the Mujahideens a lot. They hate the Mujahideens more than the mullahs. And it seems that the Pahlavis, they are putting a lot of pressure on US government and even on Israel to not weaponize the Mujahideens. So there is a kind of Cold War going on in this moment between the Mujahideens and the Pahlavis. And the war, as you can understand, is about financing, who will get more money from Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates.
You know that the Saudi Arabia, they send 70 people to Iran for cooperation, or you know, is trade cooperation or security, whatever. But all of it is fake.
Yeah, they do send people, but the Mujahideen camp still is running. And if we presume that Maryam Rajavi has, in this moment, around 2,000 active members in her camp in Albania, and the minimum cost for each member will be 500 euro, it means that every month, Maryam Rajavi, she has a budget between 1 and 2 million euros to run the camp. So you are looking at about 12 to 24 million dollars that Rajavi needs every year to run her camp in Manza. So this is a huge money, and only state government can provide you that money. Israelis, they will never give money to Rajavi, because Israelis, you know, they don't give money to themselves. So most probably the money that MEC receives should be
comes
coming from Saudis or Emiratis, because I suspect if the German or the French government will provide them with any money.
No, okay. My last question, very short. How come you have been interested to dig into this MEK research and being interested in what they are doing and their activities, all of that?
Well, my research about MEK has started because I'm a researcher on Islam, and I also research terrorism and terrorist groups.
You are also a Muslim yourself.
I'm a practicing Sunni Muslim.
Yeah.
And I was shocked when Americans and Israelis and Saudis, they radicalized Muslims against Syria in 2011, sent them to commit terrorism in Syria.
Daesh,
and
yes.
Later, Daesh, and later these Muslims were killed or declared terrorists. So when Albania hosted the Mujahideen in 2016, I became very interested on this new group, because I knew what was going to come. I mean, because from my experience with Daesh, and I have followed many Daesh members and how they were radicalized and so forth. So the Mujahideen, they are the other face of Daesh. So America uses them, then declares them terrorists. Then when it needs them, like it did now in Syria with Ahmed al-Shara. I mean, the present president of Syria, the so-called Abu Muhammad al-Julani,
yes.
I mean, he is another copy of Maryam Rajavi. He used to kill people, to send suicide bombers and kill Muslims in mosques. So he was a terrorist. He was wanted by Americans. He had $10 million on his
Exactly,
head.
yes.
And then when the Americans and Israel needed him to go against Assad and Palestinians, they made him a hero. They made him a president of Syria. So I am very interested on studying these terrorist cults, how they function, how they manipulate Islam, how they kill innocent people.
Yeah.
And how they serve to Zionism.
Exactly. But I admire your interest for humanity and all the knowledge you have about MEK and all these terrorist actions they have done. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
This is my job. I'm teaching history of the Middle East, history of Palestine, history of Zionism. So I live by teaching the stories of Mujahideen.
That's good. That's a good way of living. This is what we call it a halal, non-halal. You speak some Farsi. You were saying Mark Bar Rajavi.
Yeah, no, I know only a few words when I listen to Iranians. I know like Merkberg, America, Merkberg, Israel, Merkberg, Rajavi. I know what is that? جمهوری اسلامی. I know few
زنده
words,
باد
but I
جمهوری
don't-
اسلامی ایران. بله. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much
All right.
for this interview,
very
and
much.
we will continue. Thank you so much. Have a pleasant day.
انشالله. خدا حافظ.
انشالله. بای بای. خداحافظ.